18 years is a difficult thing to compress into a short video, but I'm going to do my best. As of last month, I signed the contract for the publication of my first novel with a small press, and it's been a long road, but there's a broader climb to come. I don't want this to just be a timeline of trials and tribulations, but an overview of what the modern publishing environment is like for an author who is just starting out. Particularly authors who are trying to publish their first long-form work, their first novel. I will touch on more short-form publication as well, because I do think that helped me, even if that's a sphere that you don't intend to participate in. I think the most honest way I can start this is to say that I almost gave up many times. Submitting work for publication is not a series of failures. If it were, I actually think it would be significantly more bearable. The truth is that it is mostly long periods of silence. And when I say mostly, I mean almost entirely. People say that of all artistic endeavours, writing is the loneliest. But I think anyone who's been in the game for at least a number of years will tell you that writing fiction doesn't feel even remotely lonely when you're listening to your characters expound or condensing what sometimes amounts to no more than a feeling into this highly dense, compressed kernel. A material of high-grade truth, even if the reflection of reality is analogous at best. That process, that craft, when you're really in it, that flow state, as much as I've come to abhor the phrase, doesn't feel lonely in the slightest. The only element in which I think it really does is in submission for publication. I have been at this game long enough that I tell people frequently now, and in a way that in my earlier years I never would have been quite so honest about, that sometimes all I really want and need is a rejection. The problem with the modern slush pile is that it has become so precipitously vast with the proliferation of the internet that when you go to read submission guidelines for journals or individual agents, they will very often state that not only can they not offer feedback for rejected submissions, but very often they can offer no rejection at all. If you do not hear back within 3 months, please consider us to have passed on your work, or something of the like. And of course, I'm not so cynical as to believe that publishers, presses, and agents want this. After all, we're trying to be artists at a time when there are bots and crawlers and trolls. The internet is a tool, yes, but it's also a bog. To try and communicate with each other, you inevitably have to wade through it. I didn't give up many times because I stopped enjoying it, or stopped feeling that I was getting better, or stopped getting ideas that made me excited to yet again blow the dust off my keyboard and start something fresh and new that somebody somewhere might love. I almost gave up many times because submitting work for consideration mostly results in the same as if one were to cast it into the sea. There's a notable line from, of all movies, The Godfather Part 3, where Michael Corleone is trying to leave this inherited empire of crime behind. And he says, "Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in." As recently as a few months ago, I remember joking with a friend that this is what the submissions process for fiction feels like. Just when I'm thinking about pulling things back, maybe taking a year, or maybe writing something that feels a little less honest but slightly more commercially viable, maybe, one of my shorts will get picked up. And of course, it's never the ones that you think have the best ideas or the characters that you felt really leapt off the page, or the ones that best exemplified that honed aesthetic and quality in your work, which if people actually knew your writing, they would recognize as distinguishably yours. And this just makes this process all the more difficult, because if what publishers want from you isn't what you think is your best, how are you ever going to get better? So I won't lie to you. I started submitting my debut, Good and Decent Men, at the time of writing about 10 months ago. And while I was submitting it, I moved on to the next piece. Being painfully honest, if I had been more confident about the landscape of publishing long-form fiction with only short-form publications to my name, I probably would have taken a break. That's just how uncertain I felt about something I was proud of in an environment where it is harder than ever to go the traditional route. The reason I want to make this video about how difficult the road to publication is because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this is the kind of thing I would have wanted and needed to hear. I want this to be informative, but more so I want it to be honest. A lot of budding creatives will know this already, but producing art that really matters to you is far and away the most difficult road you can tread. You can make compromises to seek more ready success, And there is no shame in that. But if you choose not to make any, which is what I feel I did, you will be walking that lonely road for a very long time. For me, by my account, I've been trying to get a novel published in the traditional route for about 18 years. Take from that what you will. I've heard the phrase never give up in so many contexts now since I was young. I've seen it in essays, song titles, TV shows, video games, anime, whatever medium you can think of. And I think the reason it gets hammered into us so much is because you need to hear it at least 1,000 times before you ever feel that not giving up was the right thing to do. And when you realize that you actually achieved what you wanted to achieve, it takes longer to realize, of course, that what you really achieved was the chance you wanted. The launching point of this channel is about being given a shot, and the content will be about taking it. If the channel falls dead, then you'll know it didn't work out. But it's also a record and a commitment that I did my best. So here's me taking my shot. Hopefully it's not a whole lot of build up to me crying on camera, but we'll see.